These are the brand new AirPods Max 2, and yes, they look almost exactly the same as the original AirPods Max that came out nearly 6 years ago. In fact, they even sound pretty much the same. Are these actually worth upgrading to if you already own the original AirPods Max? Or if you're buying your first pair, are they even worth buying at all? After spending some time using them and a lot of experience with the original AirPods Max, I have some pretty strong thoughts. Some things Apple improved, some things they didn't change at all, and one issue that's frustrating enough that I'm probably going to return them yet again. Let's talk about it. The first thing you need to know is this. If you put the AirPods Max 1 and the AirPods Max 2 side by side, you would honestly struggle to tell the difference. They look nearly identical, and nothing really has changed. They feel exactly the same, the materials are the same, and Apple didn't really do anything to change much about them. Honestly, it's not a bad thing because these are still some of the best built headphones that you can buy. The aluminum ear cups, the feel, the headband design distributes weight really nice. They overall still feel like a luxury product. They look and feel great. But visually, nothing about them is going to scream like new model. The real improvements to these actually are happening under the hood. Now let's talk first about sound quality because this is one area where the AirPods Max have always been outstanding in my opinion. I listen to a lot of different music, a lot of different genres with a lot of different headphones, and I've spent a bunch of money on audio gear. I just literally spent over $2,000 on a brand new custom set of in-ear monitors, so I really love audio. And honestly, the AirPods Maxes are still some of the most enjoyable headphones to listen to out of all the headphones I have. They're very balanced. They don't overly hype bass. They don't make the highs sound harsh. They have still enough energy and punch that music sounds super exciting and fun, but they don't make it sound artificial and bad like a lot of cheap headphones do. Everything from acoustic music to pop to rock, country, they all sound great on these. Apple claims they've improved the amplification and sound processing, but if I'm being honest, I don't hear a dramatic difference compared to the previous generation. That actually makes some sense to me because the original AirPods Max sounded really good, so I don't think that they needed to go back to the drawing board to redesign something. So if you're expecting some huge leap in sound quality, you're probably not going to notice that. That's just my experience, but I don't really think that's the point of these upgrades. The point is they still sound excellent. They always did, and these are still phenomenal sounding headphones. And in my opinion, for $550, they are still extremely competitive in terms of sound quality for the price as well. A lot of people hear that price and think that's insanely expensive, but in the headphone world, that's actually pretty reasonable for a good set of headphones. People who are really deep into audio can sometimes spend $2, $3, $4, $5, $10,000 or more on high-end headphones, and I'm not comparing these to the $10,000 headphones, but my point is those are very expensive, and $550 is really not terrible at all for a pair of headphones that sounds this great, that also has wireless Bluetooth, Apple integration, and all the smart features that these actually have. Which brings up probably the biggest improvement with the new AirPods Max, and that is noise cancellation. Now, I thought the original AirPods Max had great active noise cancellation, but these have actually gotten even better. Apple claims 1.5 times better than the original, and they just are outstanding. You really notice in environments with consistent background noise like airplanes, coffee shops, air conditioning, road noise, all that kind of stuff. It basically just disappears. It's fantastic if you're looking for a great set of headphones that kind of remove you from the whole world around you. And honestly, the only thing I think competes with how good this noise cancellation is Apple, because their AirPods Pro 3 are also ridiculously good at this. I don't even know how they're doing it that well, but it's awesome. Transparency mode is also excellent. This has always been one of Apple's superpowers, I think, on all their headphones, but specifically the AirPods Max, I've always loved the transparency mode. When you turn on transparency mode, it honestly feels like you're barely wearing headphones at all, and that's really convenient if you do want to kind of be aware of what's going on around you. The outside noise sounds natural, voices sound clear, it doesn't feel artificial or robotic. They also, in the new model here, added the adaptive audio, which automatically adjusts between transparency and noise cancellation depending on your environment. Personally, I don't use that a ton on these because of just how convenient it is to just press this button to quickly switch between transparency and noise cancellation. That's something I really love about these headphones, that physical button. So I personally don't really use the adaptive on these headphones, but I use the adaptive a lot on the AirPods Pro 3, and they work outstanding to basically cut out most of the noise they know you're probably looking to cut out without cutting it all out. Another area where Apple just destroys everyone else is obviously going to be that device switching. And now that they have the brand new Apple chip in here, the same one that they put in the new AirPods Pro 3, which is the H2 chip, it's just even more seamless than it ever was. You can be watching something on your Mac, pick up your phone, start playing a video, and the headphones just switch automatically. As someone who uses iPads and iPhones and Macs all the time, it's so nice being able to quickly just go from device to device without ever reconnecting, not going to Bluetooth menus and changing things. It just works. It works so good, in fact, that sometimes it's annoying because like you quickly look at something on your phone and the audio switches to it. You don't always want it. But once you get used to it, it's incredibly hard to go back to anything else. Spatial audio is also super impressive on these. If you use Apple Music or you watch movies with spatial audio support, it can create a really immersive listening experience where the sound actually feels like it's coming from different places, even though it's still just the left and right side of your ears. And it's pretty impressive. I personally use Spotify, so I don't really take advantage of spatial audio like someone would if they used Apple Music, but I have done a lot of testing with it because I used to use Apple Music, and before I was using it, I used to use the spatial audio a lot, and it absolutely has gotten even better on these. I did some tests in the Apple Store to kind of hear them side by side, and it definitely is really, really good. Battery life is also still great. Apple says about 20 hours, and that's pretty accurate. I've never once run these to dead. You basically can just know that you can use these all day without worrying about charging, and that's convenient if you are someone that doesn't really want to worry about charging them halfway through the day. Now, we need to talk though about the one issue that completely ruins these headphones for me, and I wish it was not the case, but it's actually the same exact issue that I had with the original AirPods Max, and that is comfort over long periods of time. See, when you first put these on, they actually feel extremely comfortable. Like they are so soft, the weight feels amazing. The headband just distributes the weight so nicely. The cups feel soft. They feel fantastic. The problem I find is that after about 30 to 60 minutes, like it starts to just get really hot, like really hot around my ears. I feel like I start to get rashes underneath this area. It starts to get really, really red. And I know obviously because I shave my head, there's really nothing separating the headphones from my skin. So I understand that might just be a me issue. But what ends up happening is the heat builds up and I start noticing marks on my face where the cups were actually sitting. And when I eventually take them off after I've used them for even just 45 minutes, I have big rings around my ears. My ears are sometimes red. My skin gets super sensitive. And it's just really frustrating because they're so comfortable to put on. They sound so good. They're such a joy to use, but I can't wear them for a long period of time. And that kind of defeats the purpose of what I want these to be, which is usually the ones I would just listen to when I'm just sitting in my office most of the day, because I do think they're more comfortable than wearing something in your ears. But the same issue happened with the original AirPods Max. I was hoping the AirPods Max to fix that issue, and unfortunately it hasn't. So who are these actually for? People always ask that. I think the AirPods Max sit in kind of an interesting middle ground. You see, people who are hardcore audiophiles will probably spend more money to buy dedicated high-end headphones, but people who want excellent sound quality, incredible noise cancellation, amazing Apple integration, great battery life, all those things, these are fantastic for, especially if you don't like wearing in-ear buds like AirPods or something that's actually in your ear all the time. If you're considering buying them, my biggest recommendation is simple. I would try them first. And it's hard to say, like, go to an Apple store and try them on, because when you first put them on, you will say these are incredibly comfortable and you'll want to buy them. But honestly, if you wear them for an extended period of time, I'm not sure if you'll kind of agree with me that they can be really hot. Some people can also say after wearing them for an extended period of time that they get really heavy. I personally have never felt like heavy is the issue because I feel like they're so well balanced. I've actually seen people run races with these, which is crazy to me because I think they'd be kind of way too heavy and bulky for that, but hey, some people do it. But you might want to buy them from a place that potentially has a good return policy, because if you are like me and you get these and you use these for an extended period of time, and that same issue is kind of the same for you, which is that they get uncomfortable after an extended listening time, then you might be in the same bucket as me, because Everything about these headphones is amazing, especially when you first put them on in the store and you feel the comfort and you listen to the quality that comes from these headphones. You're going to be sold on them. Are these worth upgrading if you actually have the original AirPods Max? My honest answer is probably not. I mean, if you've had them for 5 years and maybe they're getting worn out, or maybe you just want a new pair, or you specifically want USB-C, which is on these now, maybe yours had the original Lightning connector, then maybe it's worth it for that. But you're not going to get a drastic difference in terms of audio quality. If you put them on side by side, you might hear a little difference, but most likely it's not going to blow you away and make you just realize that you absolutely should upgrade. The noise cancellation, yes, it is better, but I think it was very good on the AirPods Max 1 as well. So if you don't necessarily feel like the noise cancellation is something you need even more of, then you might not find it worth the upgrade. Honestly, I think the biggest upgrade that might be the most noticeable, but really only once you get it, would be the new chip that's in there. Just maybe it switches quicker between devices. It's got a better Bluetooth connection of 5.3 rather than, I believe, the 5.0. But little things like that, you probably are not going to notice as much as you think. And unless you're kind of thinking that you just could use a little bit better noise cancellation and maybe a little bit faster device switching, which I don't think people are necessarily in that case with the AirPods Max 1, they might not be worth the upgrade in my opinion. They still sound great, they still look great, they're built well, and I think that they're actually priced pretty well. But are they worth upgrading? I'm not sure. So maybe you're in this situation though, you're trying to decide, should you buy the AirPods Pro 3, the newest model from Apple, or the AirPods Max 2? And honestly, it's really going to come down to preference. Both are outstanding headphones. These are so nice because obviously you can just throw them in your pocket, throw them in a purse or backpack, whatever, and they're so easy to just take out and use. The battery life is still good enough to be able to use for an extended period of time. They're both fantastic on airplanes with noise cancellation. Really depends on the style you're going for. These obviously are not even half the price of these, so it's worth considering whether or not you really want the bigger headphones to kind of be over your ears throughout the day, or you like this, or you really need that 20-hour battery life if you're someone maybe that takes really long flights, international flights on a regular basis. That extra battery life would be convenient. I can never wear them that long because my head would probably be catching on fire, but something to pay attention to. But overall, great headphones. They sound fantastic. I would love to use them even more. I wish I could, but unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with this fabric, but it just doesn't work for my skin. I'm not sure if I'm alone in that or not. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this answers some of the questions for you.